So we've been going through this series of transformational truths, those foundational kind of things that you and I stand on and what we believe. We talked about the resurrection. We talked about Jesus, God the Father, the Spirit. We talked about the mystery of the Trinity. And now we're talking about creation, what we believe about creation. And you'll be amazed at how many of the things that we hold dear about the value of human life and stewardship of creation, ecology, and all of that take their roots back to this fundamental doctrine of creation. And I know it's one of the most controversial of the doctrines. There's a lot of conversation going on in our culture about creation, about the stewardship of creation, about physics and whether or not physics can disprove God. And we've got all of those books that were written by the famous atheist Richard Dawkins and some of his friends that say that now we know enough about science that it disproves God, and Christianity has held back science and all of that, which is not true. Christianity is the one that propelled science because we believe that the Lord has given us dominion over the earth. We were there called and charged to understand it and to study it. Galileo, for all of the mythology you heard about him, was a man of faith. Darwin was also a man of faith. Now, he went from deism to theism and that kind of stuff, but he never understood what he was doing as doing away with God. So a lot of people who claim to follow him take his teachings further than he was even willing to do that. But scientists aren't theologians, and theologians aren't scientists. So a lot of our discussions about science and faith and all of that is really kind of frustrating because some people don't listen, they just wait to talk. That's what goes on there. And honestly, when I was getting ready for this sermon, the hardest part was I didn't know how to spell. I tried several days and it didn't look right because when you study creation, when you look at creation, more times than not, there's going to be times in your day when you just go, and you won't be able to explain it. It will be so beautiful. It will be so fascinating, so mysterious. It will just blow your socks off. So a few weeks ago, I was talking to you about how amazed I was that in the front yard of my house, I was able to find Saturn with my telescope. And it was a day I'll never forget. And then one of our members, Charlie Warren, says, I happen to be the editor of the Amateur Astronomist. No, didn't know that. And he says, here are some of the pictures I've taken. And I said, Charlie, you and I have got to get together. And he says, my wife said, don't go all nerdy on him. But look at these pictures that Charlie has taken. This is the Milky Way. And that's the galaxy that we live in. And you see how hazy it is? That's because of all of the stars. We literally cannot count them. There's the belt of Orion. There's these pictures are fascinating. And of course, I was geeking out, calling all the staff, come here and look at this. And they were kind of like Jeannie, just more rocks. Belt of Orion, stars there that make up that constellation. And the next one is another picture of the Milky Way. But that big bright to the far right, that big bright star, looks like a star, that's the nearest galaxy. That's another galaxy, the nearest one to us. Don't worry, you would die of old age before you got there. Okay, that's how big the universe is. We don't know where it ends. We literally do not know where the universe ends. We think we can kind of guess from some math and that kind of stuff, but we don't know. We keep finding new galaxies, new planets, every time our instruments get better. We had Galileo's telescope, then we had other telescopes, and we had the Hubble spacecraft and the telescope in the Hubble. And we keep finding new galaxies. We keep finding new fascinating things that we didn't understand. We had to rewrite our physics because of things that we discover and don't understand. See, we used to think a few years ago, atoms were the smallest things. And everybody was excited because we found the building block of creation, atoms. But you know, atoms are made up of quarks. Quarks. Who thought of that? We're always finding out and discovering new things. A few weeks ago, there was an article in Scientific American that they discovered a new breed, a new species of monkey. And the scientists who discovered it are big Star Wars fans, so they've named this monkey in honor of Luke Skywalker. So they have a Latin version of Luke Skywalker for the genus species of this monkey. We're always finding out new and wonderful things. Why? Because God, in His wonder, in His mystery, in His glory, has said to you and me, come and see. Come and see what I've done. Let me show you what I've done. Let me show you what I will tell you about who I am by what you see in my work. So come see.